Hey everybody. So figured I would do it tonight instead of this morning. Felt more like a beer IG live than a coffee in the morning IG live, and I ended up not getting home last night after our flight from Houston until after midnight. So last night wasn't reality. Just figured this would do it, and of course watching football all day and a bunch of great games. A couple blowouts, but one really good game that just ended, and just incredible what Jaden Daniels did there for the Commanders to get that victory. First one in forever, it seems like, for Washington. So congratulations to them. Bills versus Ravens going to be pretty special in the divisional round, and it could have been Chargers versus Chiefs, but instead Texans really took advantage of that matchup and won handily after a 6-0 lead carried through the majority of the first half. Just a bit of magic. C.J. Stroud escaping the pocket by maybe a step instead of intentional grounding in the end zone that would have led to a safety, an 8-0 lead. You get the ball back and maybe a build on that. But athleticism able just to outrun those edges and get that thing out after he got out of the pocket, and then followed by just an incredible play by him on a 3rd and long with a snap over his head to complete a 30-plus yard play. And then it just felt like with C.J., as bad as things were going, he just started using his legs, and that kind of got him rolling. And it sort of, maybe took a shot or two, and it kind of knocked the dust off or woke him up. And from then on, man, he was in rhythm, and he played a heck of a game. And the Texans just, from the first, let's just call it 25 minutes of the game, just pushed that aside. The remaining 35 minutes, it was a real dominant effort from a Houston team that certainly did not get the, accolades that they deserved going into that wild card matchup. Just defensively, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson had been the best pair of bookend rushers in the league all season. In terms of total pressures, you're talking about a combined 130, and the sacks combined 25. And the pressure they were getting up the middle with Danico Autry and Tim Settle and Mario Edwards, they'd been there all year. And the secondary is crazy as it sounds. Nobody talking really about Stingley and Kamari Lassiter, the rookie, but there's your number one and your number two completion percentage against and quarterback rating against corners in the league. And you got 5, interceptions for Stingley, 3 for Lassiter going into this game. And what the Texans were good at showed up, and what the Chargers were good at showed up for the majority of the game, and that was defense. Defense played great. I know it's a 30 burger, but 10 of those points are not on them. Actually, you could even argue 17 of those points are not on them due to turnovers. And they gave their offense the ball, and unfortunately the offense was only to come up with 3 points on 3 turnovers. So that's kind of the game, right? I think offensively there was a lot left out there, and defensively they left it all out there. So that didn't make sense. I think there was, the offense, one of the sayings the coach has, they played their best when their best was needed most. And I just didn't feel like that was the case for the offensive side of the ball, just kind of top to bottom. I think you can save Ladd McConkey, an incredible, sets a rookie record for passing yards in a playoff game. He was exceptional and incredible. And man, you want to pin, you want to put your finger on something moving forward. That's it. That was a Julian Edelman Super Bowl MVP-like performance from Ladd McConkey in that game, man. That 3rd and 26 to get a touchdown on that. There was another 3rd and long where he kind of did a little whip route and picked up an extra 15 yards when he was like 5 yards shy of the stick. I thought Ladd was absolutely incredible. All right, let's get it set up. So hat today, obviously, LAFD. Thank you to them, our first responders, all of our heroes, everybody that's helping out in the city's time of need. The shirt today was a gift from Petros for Christmas. Got me the Chandler surfboards from North Shore, the logo that he and Rick Kane were working on. A little bit of a barter system there. You stay with me, I teach you how to surf, and you make me a logo. I figured this was appropriate. I got a Carl Strauss boat shoes hazy. So, I'm a shoes guy. I love Vans, but I also prefer to roll around barefoot or in flip-flops or in slides or in moccasins or boat shoes. And that's the off season. So moving forward, I'll be calling some college basketball games starting in about 3 weeks, and I'll pound through those over the entire month of February, and then call the Big Ten tournament in March. I'll head to the Combine with the Chargers. Looking forward to that. Another draft class for Joe Ortiz and Jim Harbaugh. Let me get a sip of this. Carl Strauss is like it's just an airport beer, right? It feels like whenever I travel a lot, I think those of you that travel a lot maybe feel the same way. There's always like a Carl Strauss spot if you're early for your flight where you're going to grab a beer or six and a burger or some chicken tenders or, whatever, big basket of fries. So, yeah, maybe whatever. It's good, though. I like it. Boat Shoes, Hazy IPA, LAFD. And P got me this on Instagram. He said it was like an Instagram t-shirt store, the Chandler surfboards from North Shore, which, by the way, I watched on the way to Houston because I seem to watch it every time we hit the road. So a couple other observations. I think one of my big takeaways, so Washington just wins. Here's your winning quarterbacks in these games. Josh Allen, 8 carries, 46 yards. Jalen Hurts, 6 carries, 36 yards. Lamar Jackson, 15 carries, 81 yards. Jaden Daniels, 12 carries, 40 yards. And, of course, C.J. Stroud, 6 carries, 42 yards. I mean, it's wild that Herbert didn't have a single rush in that game. That's like the one stat when I was like, man, he never ran it once. And you just think about that 41-yard run against Oakland, against Las Vegas. And like I said, that's what it felt like when CJ ran and he just kind of picked up that first down. It just sort of woke him up and it cut him loose. So that was definitely a weird thing to see when you're kind of in the middle of the game. We talked about it, and then I guess I just assumed that there would have been one in there, and then you go back and look and you're like, holy cow. He did not run the ball a single time. I'm a big fan of the quarterback sneak. I know J.K. and Gus are fantastic running backs, but on that first drive, you get that 9.5-yard completion on second down to Disley, and you got a 3rd and inches, and you got a 6'6", 245-pound quarterback. I just prefer to get into that line, especially just the identity of this team, right? Just physical, pound. We're going to push forward. You're going to try to prevent forward progress. Let's see who wins, as opposed to handing it off to JK, who's now, they've got to get to the 13. He's taken that handoff at the 18, and he's essentially got to pick up 5 yards. And Jamare just got undercut real quick. Alt was kind of losing his block, and as Zion was pulling, he almost ran into Alt and knocked him off the block, and it just got to be a big mess, and they settled for a field goal. I think you pick up that first down and you punch that thing in for a touchdown, and then you think about the very next series where they forced the fumble on the first offensive play. You got a drop from Will Disley that would have gone for a first down and have given you a 1st and goal from the 5. Just a lot of, I think a lot of people are putting a lot on Herbert, and I get it. The guy had 3 interceptions in the regular season and 4 in this game, but the blocking was not great. He did not get very many favors from his receivers. Q had 5 targets and 0 catches. Will Disley had that huge drop, and obviously one of the interceptions was squarely on his shoulders by just serving it up on a plate because he was trying to turn upfield before he secured that catch and just let that one get away. There were drops. Chark had a drop in the middle of the field. I thought Q had a couple. Obviously the ones from Disley. So all around the offense, I think, wished that they had done better. Herbert, took it all in the press conference, and I think it's probably, he would say one of his worst performances of the year. And look, it was a tough time to do that, but it's a team deal, man. It's not just him. And I think a lot of that was predicated, his performance, a lot of it was predicated on the protection, on drops. I think they ran the ball really well to start this game. I think about that interception, right? When they're up 6-0 and they pick off Stroud on the Houston 40. And it's just like, you got Cam Dicker, make this a 2-score game. Houston's got nothing going. And, they call that that shot play downfield to Q. He's bracketed. Herbert's rolling way outside the hash, almost on the numbers, throwing all the way back to the left side near the pylon. And, that's just not necessarily, you think about Q the week before in Vegas and how well he played. And there were none of those. There were none of those 50-50 balls. There were a couple sideline throws that he was really good, but nothing like that where he's got to go up and fight to get it. That game was tough. So that's kind of me putting the game in front of you. And then I look at the season, right? So there's two things. There's the wild card game that was incredibly disappointing because you felt this team was playing its best football right now. And here's an opportunity to go up against the Texans team that offensively was really struggling. You got Bosa and Khalil Mack and Derwin and all these guys are humming, and you saw that. You saw that through the first 25 minutes of the game and just this fluky play on that third down or the fact that it wasn't a safety. The defense did what we thought they were going to do. It was, okay, this feels like a 20-7 game, like a 17-7 or 17-10 game that the Chargers can win because their defense is playing so well and the Texans offense had really been struggling. And I think that's what it was until the offense, went, let's go through it. The offense ends up going, I think, punt. Let's get it. It was, offense ends up going after the back-to-back field goals. They go punt, interception, punt, turnover on downs, punt, pick six, interception. It's 9 possessions. So, and even at that point, prior to the pick six, they had allowed just 13 points, the defense. So the defense did what they were supposed to do. So that's the game. Bummer, sucks, stings. I felt so good about that game, just being around the team and being around coach, and everybody just had this great bounce and this excitement and this confidence. And normally I just kind of play it straight, and the 7 years prior, the 2 playoff runs we made, I was didn't really think anything specific going into that Baltimore wild card round that they won, into the New England game that they lost, or into the Jacksonville game. No preconceived notions going in. This one, I went in feeling like, wow, man, this feels different. This team feels loose, excited. They believe in this opportunity they have, and it just got sideways in that second half, and it's a bummer because I thought it was a really good team that was playing really good football, and they just picked a bad day. The offense picked a bad day to have a rough go. So that's the game. Now let's get to the season. Incredible season. You're talking about $35 million over the cap, having to trade Keenan, cut Mike, restructure Joey and Khalil, and then to fill positions, Mikey Davis leaves. To fill positions, you're out there bargain shopping, 1-year deals, trying to find vets that fit into your system that you think you can get some value on. And Joe Ortiz and Chad Alexander and that staff just hit home run after home run. Poona Ford, Tier Tart, Bud Dupree, Elijah Molden, man. Unbelievable year from Elijah Molden. J.K. Dobbins. They did great in that market. You're not going to hit on all of them. But when you think about what all of those players meant, Denzel Perriman, man, talk about a tone setter and someone that helped tutor Dayon and turn him into what should be a Pro Bowler, but for whatever reason isn't. He knocked it out of the park. So that was when he was $30 million over the cap. Now Joe Ortiz gets to go out into the market with $76 million to spend. And he's going to lose some of that to Rashawn Slater. No doubt about that. But that's really it. So you get Slater and maybe Elijah Molden. He'll probably have to pay. I don't know what that contract would look like, but those would probably be the two that I think you're talking about. Slater's going to cost money. Elijah, Poona, those guys, if you want to bring them back, they'll be affordable. Bud's still here for 1 more year on $3 million. Joey's the interesting one, right? Because he restructured, he pushed some money to next year. That's $36 million right now if you keep him. It's $11 million if you move on, and you got to decide if you want to restructure or if Thule, and depending on, it's pretty deep edge draft this year. How Khalil's on an 8-year, $8.8 million, I believe, team-friendly deal. So seems like that if he's willing to just play his last year on that would probably make sense. And Bud's coming back for a year. So that's really the one interesting decision they'll have to make. What do you do with Joey at $36 million? Do you restructure, extend him out, or do you take the $11 million hit and see if Thule's just that guy that can replace him moving forward opposite Khalil for another year? So I thought the season was great. They beat every team they were supposed to beat. There were no letdowns in the middle of the season, save the Arizona game that was wonky. You had weird stuff happen in that game. You think about Rager and that big completion to get it started and the drop, and that just kind of seemed to set the tone for the rest of that game. But outside of that, and it wouldn't have mattered. They still would have been the 5 seed. They win that game. Other than that, they won every game they should have won. And they were competitive in the others. They got their doors blown off against Tampa. But even you think about the Baltimore game, and you got a drop from Q on that third down when they're down 7, and he catches that ball. He may take it all the way to the house and tie that game up, and who knows how that goes. So not saying they would have won, but I'm saying it was a tight game. The one game that they really got their doors blown off was Tampa. And outside of that, I thought it was a great year. A foundation was set, with Coach Harbaugh. I believe wholeheartedly in Jesse Minter on that defense and what he was able to coach up. Gosh, what they got out of Derwin, man, and got Derwin back to being one of the 10 best defensive players in football. That was beyond exciting to see. You think about how well Coach Klink and O'Leary coached up those defensive backs to have 2 rookies playing at the level that Cam Hart and Tarheeb still did as 5th-round picks. Look at the interception from Dean Leonard in that playoff game. I think he could be a very nice piece moving forward. I've always liked the way he plays. It's very physical, big corner. And then from Elijah and any safety they had to drop in there, what Chris O'Leary did, I thought was just exceptional. So Mike Elston on the defensive line, just kudos to all those guys. Going into this year, so that's kind of this season. And now let's look forward, and then we're going to get to all of you. Going forward, $76 million. I think there's one name that's beyond obvious. If you think about pairing up T. Higgins with Ladd McConkey, my goodness. Now, I don't know if Cincinnati's going to franchise him again and just give him whatever it would be, like $25-30 million on the franchise tag. They may do that. I'd be really surprised if they didn't. But if he does hit the market, the guy's not even 26 years old yet. I mean, it's such a natural fit to get him on this team. Ladd is a legitimate number 1, man. He certainly showed that. He absolutely showed that in that game, and just the that he plays with, and the big time plays, the money plays on the money downs. It's very exciting. So Higgins to me is number 1. The other receivers that are on the market, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin could be interesting. He's still in his late 20s, but I would be all in on Higgins. There's really no tight ends in the market. The draft is deep with tight ends, so I think they may look there. I think it's obvious. Will Dissly's a really good blocking tight end. I think even though he had a really good year catching the ball, I think you saw kind of in a playoff game when the stakes were the highest, to have a Dalton Kincaid or a Sam Laporta, a Loveland or a Warren when it comes to this draft out there, I think will go a long way. Corners, like we said, because Christian's on last year of his deal. Asante's going to be a free agent. Not sure how they want to approach that, but DJ Reed is an interesting one. Bradley Bozeman was a 1-year deal. Ryan Kelly's going to be a free agent this year. He's, over 30, but he's still one of the best centers in the league, so he'll be a free agent. Another corner, Carlton Davis, is out there as well. So that's you got $76 million to spend. Like I said, you're going to be given at least $20 million plus to Rashawn Slater. But then you still got $56 million. So that's kind of where they're at. It's a good running back draft as well. So, all right. I think that's probably good, right? I think we got it all. Let's get to you, the people. Appreciate all you, man. I've had so much fun doing these, and I know there's not a lot of you that join live, but it's still kind of cool when I look at it to see 82, now 80. I turned off, 81, someone came back. it's pretty cool to think that there's 81 of us right now sitting here getting into this. And you've been great all year, and it's encouraging when I'm out walking around the field at the games when everybody, a handful of people are like, you going to do you're going to go live? Can you go live? So thanks, everybody. So I don't forget, man, people are great. I can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all, all the people that want to talk about the Bolts and engage with me when I'm at the games or when I'm walking around. If you recognize me, that bring this thing up here. So this has been really fun. It's the first year I've done it. It's the first year I tried it. You kind of, I don't know, you ask yourself, do people really want to see this? Just me talking into a camera, but it's been really cool. The response I've got and all the people in the comments you make, it means a lot. So thanks for that. I don't think I don't appreciate it. I really do, because this is kind of one of those things that has always been weird to me. I just don't know who would want to sit and watch me do this, but it's been super cool that all of you are really positive. Oh, I see Pina from our charter. We have the best charter and the best people on the charter that travel with us anywhere. They're just the pros and the best people, and appreciate them. Certainly. Gonna miss them until next year. Hopefully I'll be back next year. Here we go. Let's see. Where do we start? Was at the game Saturday. That sucked. Hope the future is better. I think it's going to be great, Mike. I think ask yourself what your expectations were going into this season, and then think about whether or not you thought 11-6 and the number one wild card was a possibility. And then you just have to accept that in that playoff game, they did not play great football offensively. And that's ultimately what happened. Defense did what they were supposed to do, played the game that we wanted them to play. And unfortunately, the offense, struggled a little bit. Cheers to this year. There we go. Forever Dive 70. On to the next. Wish I got to meet you. You know what, Mike? Hopefully next year. Let's plan on next year. Steven, need a big play wide receiver. We talked about that. I don't know about Tyreek. I don't want guys on the wrong side of 30. I would much just, whatever the money is, pay T. Higgins. Give me the guy that's 25 and 9 months. That's what I want. Not the guy that's 31 and relies on speed and athleticism. So I'm not, if that's what they choose to do, great. But I would much rather give me the 26-year-old, not the 32-year-old. Still loves the Chargers. My man Mark, appreciate you, brother. O-line was rebuilt. Time to add weapons. Yeah, I think there's going to be some work done on that O-line, Steven. That would be my guess on the interior, just kind of based on the contracts. Trey's going to be up. This was his last year. Bradley was a 1-year deal, and I could see them maybe looking around a little bit. Good season, on the right path. Exactly. Go shopping this offseason. That's right, Rich. It's what we're talking about. Money, bolt up, man. Crowd was dope. Yeah, it really was, man. Kiko, the crowd was incredible at NRG. The entire first section, the lower section behind the Chargers bench, was all powder blues. And I feel terrible that they leave there with the loss because, man, the support was so good on the road this year. Herbert looked off. I agree. I thought it was just a rough go for him. And that happens, it's bad time for it to happen. But, there were still a couple throws, though. Cali 92 RS, Cali, I don't know if you were trying to put that together. There were some drops in there, like I mentioned. Disley on that drive, that opening drive, and then DJ Chark in the middle of the field, Quentin a few times. Like he needed some help. And put it this way, Derek Stingley was tied as the second leading receiver on the Chargers with Will Disley with 2. You can certainly put it on him, but I do think you can spread that around. LAFD, we love you. Exactly. Wishing Khalil the best. Would love for him to come back, but I'm here in retirement. I could see that, Kev. I could see that, but man, he's so great to have around. Just that smile, that laugh, and that competitor that he is. I hope, maybe they figure something out. They convince him to come back, because I know Coach absolutely adores him and loves having him around. Future is bright. Get receivers. Herbert, next year's big, can be really good. I like to see that. Great rebuild season. Exactly, Matt. They exceeded. I thought they were maybe a 9-8 team and might have to fight for that last playoff spot. And they sweep the Raiders and the Broncos for the first time in 20 plus years. I think it was 2007, so not quite 20 years. Stingley is a beast. You're absolutely right about that, Rat City. There was so much talk about how the Texans got it wrong with Sauce Gardner, and Sauce is great, but this year, first team All-Pro, and in the conversation is the best corner in the game. He's incredible. Here we go. This is Crawtastic, fan for nearly 30 years, ups, downs. Wish we had a few more games. Proud of the boys. Harbaugh and Ortiz had an amazing first season. Exactly. I think that's the thing. We got to separate the last game from the other 17. Exactly right. Number 3 pick from a couple years ago. McConkey, nice wide receiver. Let's be honest. He wouldn't be a number 2, 50% of the league. Steven, that's ridiculous. That's truly, I have no idea what would lead you to say that. He is an incredible wide receiver. He is, as a rookie, already in the conversation as one of the best route runners in the league. From the slot, he was either first or second in every single category for slot receivers to CeeDee Lamb. The guy had a rookie campaign with 1,150 yards and 7 touchdowns, and he just broke the rookie record for receiving yards in a playoff game. And Stingley was covering him for a handful of those catches. He is an incredible receiver. To say he wouldn't be a number 2, he would be a 1 on teams. He would absolutely be a number 2 on just about every single team in the league. Cincinnati with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, notwithstanding. That's crazy, Stephen. I have no idea what would lead you to say that. I will not take the Lad McConkey shade here. Absolutely not. Let's see. This is Gavin says he wants to see Herbert do it in the playoffs. I think that's fair. He's played 2 playoff games, and neither have been great. Herbert, Kershaw. Look, I think he's going to have to prove it, right? So he's got an opportunity to show that next year. I think they'll be back next year. I think he had one of the great seasons of his career. I think he'll settle in, get a little more comfortable. Like I said, let's get some things sorted out. He loves tight ends, a true pass-catching tight end. I wish they used Stone Smart more yesterday. That pass that led to the interception off Disley's hands, he didn't block at all. He was lined up in the slot. Would have loved that to be 84, not 81. Yes, he did, MGL. More interceptions in one game than the whole season. Technically, one of them was not on him. It was on Disley. But still, same amount. Here we go. Peyton didn't win until his 6th season. He won an MVP that year. Herbert, bigger reason for the loss. Yeah, we kind of got into that. Throw sailed. Yeah, the pick that went over, that was just a bad throw to Ladd. The one that went over his head. The pick 6. Get Herbert weapons. Tell me Herb was injured and that's why he didn't run it all. No way. I don't know what was going on there, man. Even if he is injured, you still got to run. You still got to show that threat. Just to kind of get them on their heels because, boy, they were coming downhill that entire second half. It seems like you guys are arguing with one another in the conversation, so I'm going to try to... Do I think Herbert regressed since 2022? No, not at all, Gavin. I thought he had a great year. I thought he played really, really, really good football this year. Defense played good enough, exactly. That's kind of what we thought was going to be, right? When they were up 6-0, if that thing's 10-0 or 14-0, or they don't turn the ball over when they're up 6-0 after the interception on the 40-yard line of Houston, and the very next play he throws the pick at Q. Who knows what could have happened because the defense was playing absolutely lights out, and the Texans had zero confidence. And the fact that Stroud had just thrown that interception and they're getting shut out, you add points to that instead of the very next play throwing an interception to give him life. It's just, that was tough. Agreed, it's quality for being a bigger brewer. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the Carl Strauss. Boches. All right, here we go. Yeah, exactly. We talked about that for the draft. Scattaboo and Warren. It'll be interesting where Scattaboo goes. Maybe like a 3rd rounder or something like that. But Tyler Warren, he's going to end up going in the top 15. He's going to test off the freaking charts. And he will not be there when the Chargers are picking. I would be floored if he was. From Hawaii, went to the North Shore to watch the Eddie. Oh, I'm very jealous, JK. It looked like it was freaking fire. And I'm friends with a guy that was out there and got a chance to paddle out before the Eddie fired off and was watching all his videos. And man, it looked absolutely incredible. One day I will try to get out there to see that thing live and in person. Overall, do you think it was a successful first year, says G-Bus? Absolutely. I don't think there's any question. You could feel the change in culture. Team won games they were supposed to win. They felt hardened, like they were calloused much more than I remember. Like I said, that's why I felt so good going into this game. I was just like, they are so dialed. And I don't think it's an indictment on Harbaugh or the team, the way they played yesterday. I think it was just offense had a bad day, man. They just, offense had a bad day. Defense had a great day. Offense didn't. And Texans are a really good defense. And when you combine a very, very good defense, pretty much top 5 across the board, with an offense that's not having a good day, that spells serious trouble. Basketball and PMS, best time for an interview. Just hit me in the DMs, Vinny, and we'll figure that out. I'll be happy to do it. What else do we got? Tempered like a samurai sword. Hope for the future. There we go. Appreciate it, Diaz. Good stuff. What else? Opportunities for Herbert. Surprised we didn't see him try to get upfield. I'm with you, Zach. I went back and watched the film, and I thought there were a handful. I definitely thought there were a handful of those opportunities there. Maybe on one, there weren't a lot. I could probably count them on one hand, but still, you get one, and now that changes the way they're playing the game, because now you've gashed them for 10, 15 yards, So, Craig Roman. Yeah, look, it's tough on Roman, right? Because it felt like he had found this freaking rhythm, this sweet spot with Denver, and then with New England, and then with Vegas. This offense was humming, man. 34-40, 34 points. They got JK back. I think people that are taking shots at Craig, you got to remember, man, I think you had Herbert, who missed most of training camp and then wrecked his ankle in the second week and was not right for about 5 or 6 weeks. So you got that to deal with. You never had Gus and JK healthy at the same time. Didn't really have a legitimate pass-catching tight end. I think they certainly, as great as the wide receivers started to perform toward the end of the year, you think about the way that wide receiver room was configured and what they had to work with. I'd love to see Greg Roman with, a healthy backfield, maybe some work on the interior of that line, and a legitimate, tight end, like a legitimate pass-catching tight end, and that wide receiver to kind of shake up the way that thing works. He still helped coach up an 1,150-yard rookie with 7 touchdowns that was the 9th pass catcher taken. Career highs for Will Dissly, 1,000-yard season from scrimmage from J.K. Dobbins, and 9 touchdowns. I mean, you still got a lot going there. Herbert's best quarterback rating and best average depth of target, best yards per reception, all of that. Best touchdown to interception ratio. Like, there were things there that I think you can feel really good about moving forward. Love the hat. Appreciate. Yeah, so do I. Love the firemen. Appreciate them. Here we go. Bolt fam on to next season. Weird energy when Stroud threw that first down right before he got sacked before the half. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's the play. Hey, Photoshop Bandit, I'm going to keep posting them because it gives me an opportunity to tag the people that give me stuff and support me, and you don't have to watch them, so I really don't care. So there's that. I know you've done that. You've sent that text to Petros a few times. So as I've told him, I'm like, yeah, tell him I really don't give a damn. So it's not for him. If you don't like it, it's not for you. It's an opportunity for me to support the people that support me. Let's see. Listen to you all year on the app. Appreciate that. Indispute. Darn it. Why is this thing moving as much as they are? I don't know why they threw jump balls. Yeah, I don't think, look, Q's got some really good qualities, really good assets as a wide receiver. So, I think you just got to play to guys' strengths, right? No one will talk about it. 1-3 and out. Texans got a field goal. Yeah, that was Justin's to get pretty much the game. Just didn't have. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was absolutely a tough one. The fact that they gave it back to him with some time left at the end of the first half to get that extra field goal. What else do we got? Mistakes happened. Holy cow, this thing's moving. Oh, that's funny. They signed Elliott, and he brought that bad Cowboys playoff juju. Not enough weapons. Team can get better. They got $76 million and a draft. And think about what Joe Ortiz did in the draft, right? Joe Alt, home run, first round. Ladd McConkey, home run, second round. Junior, unfortunately, was hurt. Didn't get to see a lot of him, but hopefully we will next year. Aboigbe barely played this year, and they even said that when they drafted him, they thought he was going to be a developmental piece on the defensive line. And then you got 2 starters in the 5th round in Hart and Tarheeb still. Heck of a draft. Oh, Heather and Mary, appreciate you. Thanks for all your hard work this season. Excited for next season. I'm excited. I love seeing both of you on the road. Just incredible Charger fans. Every road game we go to, I see Heather and Mary, and I know you guys do as well. Many of you that know the Brisket Broads. Ladd is good, but if he's your number one, you're in trouble. I would disagree. I think you can absolutely find a complementary piece around him. Like, I don't know what, like, they have to devote 2 resources to him. And like I said, for a while there, they were putting Stingley on Ladd, and he was still torching Stingley. This is not a choke job, just a talent deficit. Herbert, our guy. Let Ortiz cook. Picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue. Not Bose. Yeah, like I said, Bose is the one interesting one, right? $36 million. Yeah, exactly. The guy that ends up with 200 receiving yards is the one that gets picked on here on the thing. What's your take on the pass rush? Feel like the Bolts... Oh, God, this thing keeps moving. Always got close for the last several weeks. Not much out of Bosa, Mac, Dupree, or Thule by way of actual sacks. Yeah, I do think the pass rush tailed off a little bit. And I think some of that could have been due to age. You know, when you're talking about Bosa, Dupree, and Khalil, you got guys that are older. There's some tread on those tires. For sure. And you did see it start to wane. Some of the production was falling off a little bit. So that's certainly something that they'll have to think about. What else we got? Dayon playing with a torn labrum all season. I know, dude. Guy is a freaking psycho in a good way. He's such a good player, man. He's going to end up being best linebacker. He's going to be the best. He's going to end up as one of the best, if not the best off-ball linebacker in the league. He's like Roquan Smith-esque. Guy makes every tackle. He's in the middle of every play. Almost had that interception yesterday. So very excited about that future. Yeah, I would agree. Get Puna and Tart back. Absolutely love Tier Tart. What else we got? Rather go for one of the tight ends, mid-round receiver, running back. I think this is a best player available team. I just think that's kind of how Genty won't be available when they pick. There's no way. What else we got? Wyatt. Yeah, they will not be available. So what else we got here? Great season. Couldn't over the playoff hump. Looking forward to... yeah, that's great. Powder blues are great. They're pretty much regularly cited as the best uniforms in the league. Do I think any of the current center guard are on the team next year? Yeah, Zion will be for sure. But in terms of Bozeman and Trey, both of their deals are up. So not quite sure if they'll be back or what they'll do there. They still have Jamari under contract for one more year, so we'll see kind of what they want to do with that right guard and center. Minner, as far as I know, Kiko, I can't believe Jesse doesn't have any interviews. He's such a good coach. And maybe, after what he did to the Texans for those 2.5 quarters, he will get some interviews now, but I would assume he'll be back. I hope he is, because, man, he is a hell of a defensive coordinator. A little bit of Q issues there. Consistently lose to playoff caliber teams. Odds are we keep Minner, so we just went through that. Yeah, that's the thing to remember too. As well, it's kind of late now for college just because of the recruiting. Christian Fulton not going to net the comp pick. You never know. He might. Corners are valued. So, but yeah, not a third rounder. Wide receiver draft or free agency. I think it's probably better free agency, Jet, but there's really just one guy. It's just T. Higgins. And then after that, it's not necessarily a deep receiver draft. It's funny, like last year was a deep quarterback, tackle, receiver draft. This year is a deep defensive line, tight end, running back, corner. It's, last year there were the two corners and really nothing else. So, it's just kind of weird how that works out. Chargers need to lose that game, get better in the long run. I disagree with that. I would have loved them to win it and get a third shot at Kansas City. DJ said it during the game, flaws of the team come to light during the playoffs. Yeah, it's a great point. Prime example, no weapons, interior O-line, guys dropping passes, 11 wins in a rebuild is a great season. But yes, the things that you were concerned about that had kind of raised their hand all year, that Will Dissly is really a blocking tight end and he's being asked to catch a lot of passes, certainly showed up. You had the interior of the line that was, kind of giving up some pressure over the course of the year. And that's essentially what Anderson and Danielle Hunter did. They were getting stoned on the edges from Alt and Slater, and they just started running games inside, and that's where they were getting all their pressures from for the most part. So, yes, I think that's something they'll probably dig into. Money, thanks for a good year. Where do we go at RB? Yeah, I think that's a great question. Where do you go at RB? Because JK had a great year. Played great football. So, Hunter Henry, miss him. You're absolutely right. I miss him too. He was great. The Penn State tight end is Tyler Warren. He's going to probably be gone shifty in the first 15 picks. I think the Chargers could keep JK. I wouldn't be surprised. He's such a great guy, great locker room guy. Everybody loves him. Dealt with the knee for 4 weeks, so it'd probably have to be something, something friendly for him, give him a little bit of scratch after playing on a vet minimum deal, and then something for the team just to make sure they protect themselves. Chark, Palmer, they're both free agents. Appreciate you, Adrian. Love you as well. Thank you. Let's see what we got. Keep doing the lives next year. Absolutely will. Where is the Chargers? Chargers fits are done for the year. I wear them on the road. I wear them to the games. Thank you for doing these. Thank you, Wyatt, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Tall receiver or two, better running game, secondary. That's a lot. I think they're pretty good. Think about two rookies, man. Cam Hart and Tarheeb, 5th-round rookies who played pretty darn well as rookies. So feel good about that position. Muchas gracias. You're the man. Appreciate you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all that. We were in Texas for 2 days. Yeah, we went out on Thursday. Please keep doing these videos. I absolutely will. Expectation for the team next year is to challenge for the division, to be a legitimate challenger, to win the division, to beat the Chiefs, and to improve on your 11 wins, in a second season under this coaching staff, with another draft class and with all this money they have to spend in free agents. Yes, Eric, shout out to the first responders. Let's see. I'm getting there. I got to get a sip here. Thank you, Kinko. Appreciate that. Oh, there's Parker, my daughter. Hello. Thanks for that, Matt. Oh, you got it, Liz. Appreciate you and Pina and Bob and Mia and Mary and everybody on the Chargers. Problem having a true wide receiver one or just cold feet. I don't think it was cold feet or no wide receiver one because you had a receiver go for 197 yards and a touchdown. So that's a wide receiver one, to have that. There was no wide receiver two. That was the problem, is you had a wide receiver one. There wasn't a support for Ladd to back him up. The next leading receiver was 2 catches, 16 yards, Will Dissly. So it's funny, like it wasn't the one, it was the two. 12 wins minimum. I'm fine with that. Me for president. I wouldn't make it past the day I made the announcement. There'd be too many things that came out and I'd have to drop out immediately. Practice this week, they said, was fine. I don't think it had any effect on preparing. The offense, for whatever reason, just struggled to execute against an elite defense. Post-game reaction thoughts, love it. Doing this next year for the Bolts, I would love to. Well, they were a playoff team, Kevin. beating up average and below average teams. Coaching hides a lot of the issues. So that's how you get into the playoffs, right? Is you win the games you're supposed to win. And that's a huge part of it. And that was something the Chargers had always struggled with, is they would lose those letdown games, the game to Tennessee, the game to Houston, a game to the Raiders, like things like that. But a game to the Broncos when they had 5 wins going into Denver late in the year. Like, you've got to clean that stuff up, because 3/4 of your schedule, more often than not, is going to be average to below average teams. Only 7 teams per conference make the playoffs. So that was so important in the culture with this team, is getting that stuff out, those hiccups out, the letdowns. And just to eliminate that is how you get to 10 wins. Sweeping the Broncos and the Raiders because you were the second best team in the division. They haven't done that since 2007. So, that's what you have to do. You've got to beat the Saints. You've got to beat the Panthers on the road. You've got to beat the Falcons on the road. Those are the things they had to do, and they did. What else do we got here? Let's see. Herbert is not going anywhere. If he went anywhere, it'd be like a $150 million cap hit, and they'd have to find an elite quarterback, which he is. He had a bad game. Great turnout for Bolt fans at Hermosa. Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's a bummer that it was a bad game. I'm with you. Let's see. Running back, Tyreek doesn't fit this culture. Great season. Post-game conversations, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that, Zach. I absolutely will keep doing them. Lack of field time because of the fire. It's an interesting question, but they said absolutely not. Suck hearing all these TV analysts off season. Yeah, they're going to take their shots because of how they performed. Get a chance to said he was battling a stinger shoulder, and that here we go, that he's had since he was younger, wants to be back. Always say, I like Zontu. I think it's just it's a money issue for sure. If he's affordable, they'll do it. A lot of people commenting, I think, because these things keep moving. Sorry. Talk about Herbert. Mood of the team last night was, they were quiet. They were quiet on the flight home. They were bummed. I think they really thought they had a shot to make a run at it. That they had the team and the coaches, and believed that they had enough to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they legit. That was the vibe that I got from them, walking around with them the last couple days in Houston, embedded with the team. And I think that's why it was such a shock to the system that that's the game that they ended up playing. Let's see. Do I think Zion will be here after his rookie deal? I think he's a young guy that's just got to keep improving. And they got great coaches in Devlin and Nick Hardwick, so just got to keep working with him. He's got the tools, that's for sure. He's strong as an ox. I think it's just seeing it, feeling it a little bit better, and having maybe a center that you connect with, that you can work a little bit better with. 5-12 last year, no playoffs. 11-6 this year, great. I don't think they overlooked the Texans. I think the offense just couldn't get it going. The defense, like I said, played great for 2.5 quarters. They were playing great all the way to the pick 6 in the late third quarter. Defense was lights out. So I don't think they overlooked them at all. I think the offense, for whatever reason, just could not execute. Chargers bold trades. I don't think there's trades. I think it's more, I think it's just more signing. Lad's a beast. Glad we have him. So am I. Chargers staff returning. I'd be surprised if they didn't, unless someone gets promoted. It's okay to criticize Herbert, say he had his worst game. It's fine. I think that's fine. I think it was a rough game for him. He said as much. I don't think Greg Roman isn't the guy. That's a double negative. So shifty. So I think you're saying that you do think Greg is it. I know, I'm with you. I don't know why Ladd is taking incoming on this. I just don't get it. The guy is fantastic. He's better than the majority of the receivers. Would you rather have Xavier Worthy? Hell no. Would you rather have Xavier Legette? Absolutely not. The players that were taken in front of him, he's way better than them. Chargers they'll draft a running back, I would imagine, for sure. I think they were really thinking hard about Blake Corum or Junior Colson in that 3rd round, so they were already kind of looking at that. And look, they drafted Kamani Vidal in the 5th round, so they certainly aren't adverse to taking a running back in the draft. Full season, new regime. Excited to see what Herbert can do. As a Raider fan, I do not want Ladd and T in the same wide receiver room. T and Ladd would be a new. Wow, we must be way late. Opinion of the offensive play calling. Yeah, I think it's just a combination of everything, right, in that game. Like, I felt like they were running the ball really well. I did. I felt like they were really running the ball well. Higgins looked great on Sunday Night Football. He's incredible. He's a legitimate top 10 receiver in the league. Let's see what else we got. Money fan, thank you. Herbert gets out of the pocket. Sorry, I'm just trying to get through these, and the comments keep moving. A lot of you guys are still feeding it. Higgins isn't leaving since he already stated he wants to be there. Yeah, I'm not saying he is, but money changes things, right? And we see wide receivers move around a lot. It's one of the positions where you end up seeing guys tend to go on the move because they want to get their money and they want to get a lot of money. So the Chargers happen to have a lot of it. Let's see. Raiders, blah, blah, blah. Bust his stick, he shreds so bad. What's in your TV? Right now on my TV is Channel 4 news coverage of the fires. Hope all you out there are okay. Let's see what we got. Thoughts on some fans calling us fake fans or criticizing what was Herbert's worst game of his career. I don't know what fake fans are. This year I saw a lot of people on the road, man. It was impressive. So you're going to spend your money, you're going to wear powder blues, and you're going to hang out there at all these places we went. Everywhere we went, you had a Let's Go Chargers chant take over Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. There were more Charger fans. Well, I shouldn't say more. It was probably a 60-40 split in Vegas. I'd say it was easy 40% Charger fans in Vegas this year. Like, it's growing. It feels great. Wow, I think we got it. All right. I think that's going to be it. Why didn't we? Oh, no, maybe not. Yeah, Denzel started that game and then had to leave. All right, I think. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, folks. Appreciate you. Hi from Sherman Oaks. All right, Phil. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody. Sorry I'm late. You may have addressed this. What a long off season for Herbert. Media Morning's going to, yeah, they are. They're going to get after him. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody. Raider fan, Nick. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all. Yes. Again, the last comment. Stop blowing up. You're out of your mind, dude. That place can't be blown up. Everybody knows about it. Get over yourself. All right. Appreciate y'all. Fantastic. And all right, last one. Love you too, Pessian. Stop blowing up Sano, you jackass. All right, that'll do it. And who knows when we'll be back again. All right. I don't know if I'll be back with a team next season. We'll see. I hope so. I absolutely hope so. All right, everybody, be good and stay safe. And thanks again. Carl Strauss is the beer. Little Chandler surfboards from Petros is the shirt and the LAFD. All right, everybody, have a great night. Appreciate y'all.